Good morning, family. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's early, and your boy's been working. Not only has he been working, trying to push them wheels across this country to make sure that y'all get your beans from Walmart, and your string beans from Costco, and your turkey legs, and your beef fried rice, and your beef and your chicken. Boy, do we got a good one for you this morning. We got a good one for you this morning. It's early, and your boy is propped up and he's mad. Yeah, I'm mad. And I'm tired. And I'm going to say this, I'm going to start off like this. This is all about race. Okay? This is race. This is race. This is about race. Identity, race. Black, white, Mexican, Latino. I don't care what country you from. Native Indians. India. What a disgrace this country is. We call the United States of America. I got a movie for y'all that is a historical fact. And I didn't realize that. See, a lot of times when I go to these towns and I do a little history fact, right? I look up how these towns reacted in the 1900s, in the 1800s, in the 1700s. Okay? Good morning, Carla. I react to that. And here it is, I'm in Cersei. It's either pronounced Cersei or Cersei, Arkansas. You know, I came through Alabama yesterday. I drove from Atlanta, Georgia, all the way to Arkansas. Wasn't nothing. 500 some miles. It's okay. This is what your boy do. Driving across this country ain't nothing. It's easy as all outdoors. You gotta make it fun. You gotta stop places. You gotta do things. Okay? And when you do things, you gotta learn some things. When you're going across country, you should stop in these towns. And you should see if there's any historical facts whatsoever that you might be able to learn from, and any historical facts that you might be able to take what you learn and show it to the people. Give it to the people who walk around thinking they high and mighty, who walk around thinking they tough, who got these boys walking around. I'm going to tell you why black folks are a disgrace. Let me tell you why we're a disgrace, and you can put me in it because my dumb ass didn't know these facts. And I've done the same shit that these black boys are doing now. These black men are doing now, grown black men. Okay? Grown black men, grown white men, young white boys, grown Mexican men, young Mexican men, okay? And I'm even gonna call the Europeans out. I don't care what part of Europe you're from, I'm gonna call you out. Okay? I can't call out the Africans, the true Africans to a degree, but they in this too, because I saw some shit about Ghana that's gonna piss me off. And like I said to you before, I am going to have someone from Ghana come on my show. I am preparing this action as we speak. Okay? As we speak. And I'm going to ask these hardcore questions because Americans are migrating to Ghana. And you want to know how they're being treated when they get there. And believe me, if you're not doing your homework, you need to do your homework. And this is not about whether or not you should go there or not. This is about what you should know when you get there. Okay? And it's the same thing what I'm about to talk about now with this race. We walk around here, we stupid. My friend, sweetheart of a young lady here, her mother is 95 years old. 95 years old. I didn't know anything about this massacre that happened in the year 1919 until this morning. See, y'all think I'm sleeping, but I'm learning. I'm studying. I'm trying to find things that I can retain in my head and then have a conversation about. Okay? So today I'm doing a two-part series. Okay? I'm doing a two-part series today. And this is rare, but I'm doing it today because I find it necessary. I find it necessary because I have a dear friend, more than one, who is white, and just like most of my friends who are on this page, they have friends that are white. Most of us are human beings, okay, where we believe in common courtesy, okay, and we don't care who you are as long as you give us respect for who we are. And the minute you cross that line on respect, color-wise, sometimes it's not even about color, it's just about being human. You're saying the wrong thing, not because you're white, or just because you're just wrong and you just think you can say whatever you want. Such as me. I think I can just say whatever I want. But the truth of the matter, and like I told you before, and I stand on this, and I preach this all the time, words matter. Family, words matter. Okay? The way you speak to someone and the way you want someone to speak to you, I would suggest that you learn how to conduct your words, how to pronounce your words, how to say your words in sentences and everything else, and how you want to be spoken to, because the way you speak to me is the way I might speak to you. I might not be so godly. If you want to use the word godly, I don't think it has anything to do with God. This has nothing to do with God. This is whether or not you were born and raised the right way, with common decency, and that's that. Nothing else. So, we'll get on with this story. This story has been erased from history, and I can pretty much guarantee you that nobody knew about this story that is my age. And if you did, shame on you, because you never told anybody about it. Shame on you teachers for not teaching your students about it. Shame on you teachers for not teaching your students about it. Shame on you modern day reverends, pastors, rabbis, imams. Modern day, you are supposed to preach the word. You are supposed to deliver the word in a way that people learn from it. But instead, you deliver the word, y'all deliver this word to where you profit from this. You're not teaching, you're talking. You're not doing no more than what I'm doing. But you have a title. So that makes you better than me because of your title. I'm not versed in knowing the Bible from front page to the back page, but I am versed in reading the Bible. I am versed reading in the Quran. And I know a little bit about Hebrew. I know about being Jehovah. I know about being an Israelite. And all you Catholics and Protestants and Baptists and Christians who decide that they don't like the Israelites, and the Muslim brothers who don't like the Israelites. The Israelites, the religion is different. Okay, salam, my brother. The Israelites is different. Okay? But this morning just ticked me off. JB, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this, brother. Because this is what your big brother has installed with you and your other brother and these other brothers and these other brothers all this time. Now you begin to realize why I stand 10 toes down on certain situations. I'm just different like that because I believe in the truth. I don't believe in cutting the truth up. I believe in the truth. If this is the way it is, and this is really the truth, speak it. Why are you afraid to tell the truth? Because when you get afraid of telling the truth, you hurt me. You hurt the next man. You hurt the next woman. Okay? Now this story is all about race. It's all about race. I don't want to hear, excuse my language, okay? I don't want to hear another nigga, no ghetto ass nigga, whether you be white, Mexican, or black. All of y'all niggas, I don't want to hear nothing about you talking about a fucking race war. Because you ain't seen shit. You obviously don't know what it means to have a race war. You don't know what it means to have a race war. You just talking shit. Ain't none of you motherfuckers ready to have a goddamn race war. And I said this the other day. You're not fucking ready for a race war. And you've been tricked. You've been bamboozled. This story I'm about to play you, if you ain't learned nothing from this story, you ain't gonna never learn, which is why America is still in the same place it was in the 1900s and the 1800s, because nobody wants to change the difference. They all afraid. White folks afraid of blacks, blacks afraid of whites, white folks and black folks afraid of Mexicans. This story that I'm about to play is the same way whites felt about blacks, and this is the same way that blacks feel about Mexicans and immigrants. Whites feel the same way. So I hope, I don't care who you are, play this video over. Share it. I don't care what you do with it, but you should learn from it. These are the small reasons that can create a mass war over words, over thoughts, over what somebody feels. I didn't realize that. I didn't know anything about this until I started doing some research on some random stuff, and payah, this popped up in my algorithm. And I feel it necessary that I share with the people that I love, and I hope that you take something from this. So if you got about 25 minutes, if you got 25 minutes, just give me 25 minutes. I'm not going to interrupt this video whatsoever till the end. I promise you, I'm not going to stop and go. My commentary, I'm going to leave it as it is. But I want you to pay attention to this video. See, if I gave you the name of the video and told you to look at it, it's not the same. Okay? It is just not the motherfucking same. What's up, Big Ron? It is not the same. But I am going to show you why race is different. I can't post the video, Ron. I can't. But I am telling you, if I post the video I'm not going to get the people that I want to see this video because they just going to think it's a video. You'd be surprised, my brother, how many times I try to send somebody in the right direction, go watch this instead of me talk about it, and I guarantee you they don't do it. That's the only reason, brother. That's the only reason. The video is called Erased from History. Okay? It's the massacre of Elain, Arkansas. It's the Elain Massacre of 1919. If you want to go get the video and not watch it from here, I just find it necessary to post it today. Okay? But the video is called the Elain Massacre of 1919. I just found out about this video and about this history lesson right here. I'm not a historian to a degree, but I do know a lot about black history and white history and how things happened back in the day, but I didn't know nothing about this, Big Brian. Nothing. But anyway, it's time. Let me post this. Brother, if you're welcome to go get this video and watch it yourself. Okay?
Welcome, players, to the post-apocalyptic world. Please remember a few important rules. 1, your shelter is...
We are certain that a reign of terror against the black population of that part of Phillips County took place. We are certain that machine gun crews went out looking for people to gun down. Call that out for Mississippians to come to the rescue of the white men in Phillips County who were under severe attack. And so they jumped into cars and they jumped into trains, and at least according to the oral sources that I've talked to, they fired out of the windows at every black they saw. Women in the fields, it didn't matter. If it was black and moving, it was target practice.
The stench of the dead can be smelled from miles away. In the end, the remaining blacks caught will be arrested and arraigned for execution on account of the assault on their lives and the deaths of their loved ones.
The general reaction of the white establishment in Phillips County in the aftermath of the riot was a charge that was leveled against the black population that they were in a secret conspiracy to rise up and to overthrow the white power structure and the landowning class in eastern Arkansas.
In the predominantly black town of Elain, Arkansas, a dark and sinister event unfolded that would shake the community to its core forever. That September unholy night, filled with unearthly terror and bloodshed, continues to resound in the annals of history. It was the day where a group of white mobs had descended on the predominantly black town, leaving a trail of irreparable damage in their wake. This would turn out to be one of the darkest chapters in America's history, one of the deadliest acts of racial violence in the early 20th century, known as the Elain mass killing or the Elain race riots. However, before we embark on this dark history, do not forget to support our channel's endeavor by hitting the thumbs up button. Share with friends and families to keep spreading our eye-opening black narratives, and consider subscribing if you haven't. Alright then, let's dive in. The Elain mass killing was by far the deadliest racial confrontation in Arkansas history, and possibly the bloodiest racial conflict in the history of the United States. While its deepest roots lay in the state's commitment to white supremacy, the events in and around Elain, Phillips County, stem from tense race relations and growing concerns about labor unions. A shooting incident that occurred at a meeting of the Progressive Farmers and Household Union escalated into mob violence on the part of the white people in Elain and surrounding areas. Although the exact number is unknown, estimates of the number of African Americans killed by whites in this outburst have ranged into the hundreds, thousands of others displaced. But first, let's take a brief look at life in Elain before feeding you details on the chilling and heart-wrenching event that took place on that memorable night of 1919. Phillips County, which is located in the Arkansas Delta, had historically been developed for cotton plantations, and its land was worked by enslaved African Americans before the Civil War. In the early 20th century, the county's population was still predominantly black because most freedmen and their descendants had stayed on the land as illiterate farm workers and sharecroppers. African Americans outnumber whites in the area around Elain by a 10-to-1 ratio and by 3-to-1 in the county overall. White landowners controlled the economy, selling cotton on their own schedule, running high-priced plantation stores where farmers had to buy seed and supplies, and settling accounts with sharecroppers in lump sums without listing items. In addition, sharecroppers worked the land for a small share of the crop and were forced to sell their cotton to the landowners, who paid less than market prices. Workers also had to buy food, clothing, household wares, tools, seed, and fertilizer at the plantation commissary, which charged exorbitant interest rates. It was a system intended to keep black people in debt and dependent upon planters. The all-white legislature made the situation worse, as it had disenfranchised most blacks and many poor whites in the 1890s by creating barriers to voter registration. It excluded them from the political system via the more complicated election law of 1891 and a poll tax amendment passed in 1892. The white-dominated legislature enacted Jim Crow laws that established racial segregation and institutionalized efforts to impose white supremacy.
My name is Asha Davis, and I'm an actor. I was born in Cogdell, Georgia in 1917, 2 years before the tragedy in Elain. Yet, despite geographical differences, the world of rural Arkansas was not much different from the world of rural Georgia. Both were part of the South, then a region where black people were segregated from whites by custom and law.
The decades around the turn of the century were the period of the highest rate of lynchings across the South. Asha Davis would go on to report that at the time, the cotton fields were the best place whites considered was for black people. White planters needed cheap black labor to grow and pick their cotton. Among the richest fields in the world are hundreds of thousands of square miles of land in the Arkansas Delta. The men and women who work the land are supposed to receive half the cotton crop in exchange for their labor, but many landlords would cheat them out of their rightful share. White landlords often underpaid sharecroppers for their crops and paid when they saw fit. Between the prices of goods purchased from the plantation store and the crop underpayments, many were kept in debt to their landlords.
The man would take your cotton, and then the man at the store, you had credit, you run the books up on you, so you didn't have nothing. You work a whole year and hand pick 40 bales of cotton and come out with nothing.
At the time of settlement, landowners generally never gave an itemized statement to black sharecroppers of accounts owed, nor details of the money received for cotton and seed. The farmers were disadvantaged as many were illiterate. It was an unwritten law of the cotton country that the sharecroppers could not quit and leave a plantation until their debts were paid. Thus, the period of the year around account settlement was frequently the time of most lynchings of black people throughout the South, especially if times were poor economically. At this time of 1919, it was summer. And strangely, there's been a fiery outbreak of racial violence which rippled across the entire United States like some raging force of darkness, which it obviously was. Therefore, by virtue of the season, mingled with the non-spatial unfolding chaos, it was called the Red Summer. The term Red Summer was coined by civil rights activist and author James Weldon Johnson, who had been employed as a field secretary by the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, 3 years earlier in 1916. In 1919, he organized peaceful protests against the racial violence. By this time, no less than 350 cities across the United States had been affected by this dark racial outbreak, where white supremacist terrorism and racial riots had continually unfolded. In Chicago, 23 whites and 15 blacks were killed. In Washington, D.C., 4 whites and 2 blacks. Whites are astounded that blacks would dare to fight back. The anti-black riots developed from a variety of post-World War I social tensions, generally related to the demobilization of both black and white members of the United States Armed Forces following World War I, an economic slump, and increased competition in the job and housing markets between ethnic European Americans and African Americans. The time would also be marked by labor unrest, for which certain industrialists used black people as strikebreakers, further inflaming the resentment of white workers. Going forward, many black sharecroppers in Phillips County, whose cotton was sold in October 1918, did not as well get a settlement before July of the following year. They had amassed considerable debt at the plantation store before that time, as they had to buy supplies, including seed, to start the next season. However, in that remarkable year of 1919, black farmers on this side of Elaine had begun to organize themselves in the endeavor to negotiate better conditions, including fair accounting and timely payment of monies due them by white landowners. Robert Lee Hill, a black farmer from Winchester, Arkansas, had founded the Progressive Farmers and Household Union of America, PFHUA, at this time. He worked with farmers throughout Phillips County, the main purpose being to obtain better payments for their cotton crops from the white plantation owners who dominated the area during the Jim Crow era. Whites would often try to disrupt such organizations and threaten farmers. The Progressive Farmers and Household Union of America retained a white law firm based in Little Rock to represent the black farmers in getting fair settlements for their labors during the 1919 cotton harvest. The firm was headed by Ulysses S. Bratton, a native of Searcy County and former assistant federal district attorney. Now, to the heart-wrenching episode of the racial violence that unfolded. In the sweltering summer of 1919, tensions were already running high in Elaine. Launched on the backs of exploited black labor, the town of Elaine, Arkansas, seethed with the pent-up fury of generations. The African-American community, fueled by the promise of equality and justice, had begun to organize and demand better working conditions and fair wages from white plantation owners. On that night of September 30, 1919, approximately 100 African Americans, mostly sharecroppers on the plantations of white landowners, attended a meeting of the Progressive Farmers and Household Union of America at a church in Hoop Spur, Phillips County, 3 miles north of Elaine. The purpose of this meeting, which was one of several meetings by black sharecroppers in the Elaine area during the previous months, was to obtain better payments for their cotton crops from the white plantation owners. The union had contracted with lawyer Ulysses S. Bratton, whose son, Osier, was at the meeting. In previous months, racial conflict had occurred in numerous cities in America, including Washington, D.C., Chicago, Illinois, Knoxville, Tennessee, and Indianapolis, Indiana. With labor conflicts escalating throughout the country at the end of World War I, government and business interpreted the demands of labor increasingly as the work of foreign ideologies such as Bolshevism that threatened the foundation of the American economy. Thrown into this highly combustible mix was the return of black soldiers to the United States, who often exhibited a less submissive attitude within the Jim Crow society around them. Unions such as the Progressive Farmers represented a threat not only to the tenet of white supremacy, but also to the basic concepts of capitalism. Although the United States was on the winning side of World War I, supporters of American capitalism found in communism a new threat to their security. With the success of the Russian Revolution, stopping the spread of international communism was seen as the duty of all loyal Americans. Arkansas Governor Charles Hillman Grove told a St. Louis, Missouri audience during the war that there existed no twilight zone in American patriotism, and called Wisconsin Senator Robert La Follette, who opposed the war, a Bolshevik leader. During this Red Scare, the threat of Bolshevism seemed to be everywhere, not only in the labor strikes led by the radical industrial workers of the world.
With so many choices on Booking.com, there are so many Tina Feys I could be. Music buff Tina at a Nashville vacation home, or just buff Tina at a hotel gym. Book whoever you want to be. Booking.com, Booking.yeah.
I don't want clay dust.
Oh my God.
Or chemicals in the place you put.
Everybody's got to get paid, family. Everybody's got to get paid.
World's best cat litter for the world's best.
It's incredible.
Also in the cotton fields of Arkansas. Thus, being aware of the risks they were taking, leaders of the Hoop Spur Union had placed armed guards around the church to prevent disruption of their meeting and intelligence gathering by white opponents. However, the white establishment would get wind of the ongoing meeting at this time, and seeing it as a threat to their power, they had responded with brute force, sparking a wave of violence that would last for days. At 11 p.m., a band of white men would shoot into the church. Black guards returned the fire, resulting in the killing of W.A. Adkins, a white security agent of the Missouri Pacific Railroad, and the wounding of Charles Pratt, Phillips County's white deputy sheriff. News of the shooting quickly reached the county seat of Helena. Soon, word would spread that blacks were attacking whites in Elain. By early morning on October 1, the sheriff sent white veterans from the American Legion Post to suppress what he deemed as an insurrection. Calls went out to the governor for federal troops. Telephone lines to Elain were cut. Throughout the day, at least 1,000 white vigilantes came from all over the state and from Mississippi to join plantation owners, their managers, sheriffs, deputies, and the veterans to put down what they had called an uprising. But it was effectively an invasion. By the day's end, countless black women, men, and children had been slaughtered. The following morning, Governor Charles H. Breaux of Arkansas and a World War I veteran, Colonel Isaac Jenks, personally escorted 583 soldiers, including a machine gun battalion, from Camp Pike in Little Rock, the state capital, to Elain. Colonel Jenks sent all of the white women and children to Helena by train, ordered the immediate disarmament of everyone, and authorized the killing of black insurgents who failed to disarm. Then the real mass killing began. For the next 5 days, Colonel Jenks and his troops, assisted by vigilantes, hunted black people over a 100-mile radius. They scorched and burned homes with families inside, slaughtered and tortured others. The troops were aided by 7 machine guns. At least 200 African Americans were killed, although the estimates run much higher, but there was never a full accounting. And the killing was indiscriminate, as men, women, and children unfortunate enough to be in the vicinity were slaughtered. And so, without sanctuary or refuge, black sharecroppers were left with few options. Many hid in the swamps and thickets. Others were said to have been gunned down in fields as they worked, and throngs of others surrendered themselves to the authorities for arrest. Amidst the violence, only 5 whites died. But for those deaths, someone would have to be held accountable. On October 7, 1919, Colonel Jenks declared the insurrection over and withdrew his troops. He brought the men and women deemed insurrectionists to the Phillips County Jail in Helena. And guess who they were? Blacks. Blacks in unspeakable misery, who have just been rendered homeless as they had watched their homes go up in flames before their very frightened eyes. Blacks in mourning, who had lost their loved ones, watching them shot before their eyes. Some were burned, others raped and killed. These were the very ones who were called insurrectionists, arrested and thrown in jail. As a matter of fact, that was a treatment of mercy, to still have their lives with them regardless. Held in a makeshift jail, hundreds of blacks were detained until their participation in the Progressive Farmers and Household Union of America could be verified. Those farmers who had not participated in the union were held until their landlords would arrive to vouch for and collect them. Those fortunate enough to leave the stockade, as the jail was also called, were given passes that they were to show on demand and were ordered to return to the fields for work. On October 31, a grand jury indicted 122 black men and women for offenses ranging from murder to night riding. The jury charged 12 black men with the capital murders of 3 white men and sentenced them to death, even though 2 of the deaths had occurred from white people accidentally shooting each other in the frenzy. The 12 men sentenced to death were...
Okay. Love it. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. I gotta go to work. They just sent me some work. You got the video. I played a little bit of this video for you to go watch it and learn something. Teach these young brothers who walking around here with guns. We killing ourselves. If you watch this video, ain't nowhere in the world you should not be spreading love between your brothers and sisters, whether they white or black or Mexican or whatever. Because guess what? Whites jumped on blacks for this cotton field. Blacks wanted to get paid better. Whites were upset because they lost jobs. And then the whites, the rich whites, said, well, we're going to hire these blacks. So now the whites mad at the blacks. What is going on in this world in the 21st century? Blacks are mad at Mexicans because they say that they'll work for anything. Blacks are mad at the migrants. Whites are mad at the migrants because they say that they'll work for anything. They'll work cheaper than us. Why do you think there's no blacks in construction? Because the jobs go to the Mexicans. Now we upset with the Mexicans because they work for nothing. They not really in the unions, but they are. You see how this shit is? This is crazy, man. They got us duped. We have been bamboozled because of who we are. Not just us. The Mexicans been bamboozled. All they wanted to do, come over here and make some money. The blacks been bamboozled. All we want to do is fair wage and make some money. The whites who are poor have been bamboozled because they've been tricked into thinking it's us fighting against them. When in reality, it is the people who own the goddamn shit, who got the money, who got the media, those people. Those people are the ones causing this confusion, which is why I say to you, my brothers and sisters, always be respectful. This is Juan's perspective. This whole thing here is just me talking. I don't care if you get on here and disagree with me. Just don't be disrespectful to me. Because when it's all said and done, I'm still a man. I ain't no bitch. I ain't no hoe. I'm still a man who will stand up 10 toes down. I don't care how tall you are. I don't care how fat you are. I don't care how skinny you are. As a man, I'm going to take care of my business, whether I win or lose. This tooth got knocked out by a straw. A straw. Not no brother. I done been in plenty of them fights. Teeth are strong. But your boy is old now. And I ain't got time for fighting. I got a lot of time to talk shit. And to try to educate my brothers and sisters. And I'm going to learn from you. I'm going to learn from you. Because I got educated brothers and sisters on this page. And they hit me up after I get off my lives. And they teach me shit that I might have said that could have been wrong. And I accept that. Because that's just who I am. I'm a man. Ain't nothing you can say to me that's going to really make me do anything. But something you do to me will make me do something to you. I'm a man. I got a family to go home to. You a man. You got a family to go home to. You a woman. You got a family to go home to. Words should not be pushing you in a position where you lose your freedom. You fight for freedom at all costs. Your freedom comes first. Self-preservation, the First Amendment. Your freedom comes first. That's why I talk on these shows, man. It's ain't about me knowing nothing than what I know. And if you can help me spread the word, then we can make America, it's a famous quote that most people don't like, we can make America great. Okay? We can make it great. I go say we can make it great again because I don't believe with the again, but we can make America great. Greater than what it was. And if you can believe in that, then you can believe that we can change the world. And if you don't believe in that, then you're going to be the divider. You're going to be the divider. So, I got to get to work and travel my ass across country. Don't know where your boy is going. Hold on, let me find out. I don't know where I'm going from here, but did y'all hear Searcy County? I'm in Searcy now. Searcy, Arkansas. I think that's how he pronounced it. Searcy, Arkansas. That's where I am now. Why in the world this came into my play algorithm, I have no clue. But I am so excited about it. I am so excited about it because guess what? This is what I do. I love it. Learn some shit. There we go. Coming back to Wisconsin. Just like that. Anyway, I gotta go. You guys can replay this video. Okay? The title of this video is in the video. Okay? until later on this afternoon, probably this evening, your boy's going to come back because I do got some things, like I said before. I don't want to hear anything about these young brothers. They need to stop what they're doing. They need to stop. Because this here, you talking about race war, okay? Do you see about 100 or so, plus the army, came into town. They dismantled, disgunned all of the blacks, and then they went on the war page. They got you to put your guns down, give them your guns, and then that's when the real war started. Race war. Who dies first? Did you hear them talk about kids? Did you hear them talk about grandmas, grandpas? Did you hear them talk about women? Did you hear them talking about the black men and men? Did you hear that? I don't want to hear anything about the Holocaust. I don't want to hear anything about the Holocaust. I don't want to hear anything about that. Because this, in 1919, and then before, is worse than the Holocaust. In my eyes. Don't make me believe that what the Jewish people, those poor people who were murdered because they wasn't blue-eyed, do not just put them in front of me and make me believe that they are better than me. Hold on, fam. I'm tired of this race shit. This shit is dumb. I don't want to hear anything about God. I don't hear anything about the devil. This is human being shit. This is common sense shit. If you want to say anything about God, God gave everybody common sense to use. Whether you use your common sense or not has nothing to do with God. Nothing. In my eyes. If I don't like you, it's not God because I go to church said that Juan doesn't like you. And I go to church and I believe in God, but I'm going to tell my Mexican brother, my white brother, my Jamaican brother, my Nigerian brother, my Dominican brother, whatever you are, that I don't like you. That's not God-like, right? This ain't got nothing to do with God. It's you being a human being. That's what it is. So be a human being and live righteous and help spread the word of love and respect. That's all I want is respect. You ain't got to love me. Respect me. That's it. Anyway, it's time to go. I got to get out of here. I got a long road. Peace and love to my family out there. Spread the word. Later on tonight, we're going to break this video down. And I'm going to show you why race matters. Okay? I'm going to show you why we need to respect each other. And I don't want to hear no more lunatic shit talking about race war. Because race wars mean that you're going to kill anybody because of who they are. Those white folks came in this town and they killed anybody black. They killed kids. Did you hear them say they went to the fields? These people that was in the fields had nothing to do with this. They was working. Just like you about to go to work today, and here it is, I drive into the southern part of Illinois, and then there's a race war going on, and people just shooting, and I don't know nothing about it, because I wouldn't have went that way if I knew it. These people just working. They got up in the morning, went to work with their families, whatever, in the fields, the cotton fields, and guess what? They got killed for nothing, just for being black. I gotta go. This is bullshit. Peace and love.